Hello, it's 8:05-ish, live at 8:05. That is the thing. On Thursday night, 8:05. We're supposed to do it at 8 o'clock a few weeks ago, but the system would only let me do it at 8:05, and then I realized live at 8:05 had a ring to it, so I thought I'd do a live Facebook at 8:05 on Thursday. I thought it had a ring to it, and I thought it would catch on. We'll have to see about that. It might catch on. It could catch on. We live in hope. So, hi, I'm Jonathan Stiano, consultant plastic surgeon, and I'm going to talk about ways of growing and building your practice, which is something that I've become interested in the last few years since I opened my own plastic surgery clinic and developed more processes to build up the clinic and make sure that it was profitable and that I could sustain it, because it was a sort of, say, a dream of mine. It was a dream's a bit severe, but it was certainly a big goal of mine to have my own place, my own clinic. I always wanted to have my own office, and I think patients think that we've all got our own office with staff and things like that, but most of us are just sort of working in the private hospital doing, NHS full-time and part-time private practice, which is what I was doing, and I just wanted to build a better private practice, really, which is something that I have done. But it's been really ups and downs with my private practice, and I wanted to share that really with people, because we are very freely sharing of our clinical experience, but we don't really share our practice development experience quite so much. So I thought I'd do that, fill a niche, gap in the market. So that's what I'm doing here now. And what I'm going to talk today about is the importance of knowing your numbers. Knowing your numbers is really important, and this has become to the fore with me, because I'm doing these sort of discovery days, and I'm doing mentoring with other doctors, talking to other doctors about how you go about building a practice. And one of the things about the days and the work that I'm doing is something that I've found in my practice when I've wanted to get help in growing my practice and get help with people to help me with advertising, with marketing, with PR, anything to help grow my practice. It has been making the person who is helping me accountable to get a return on the investment. And I really struggle with that with the people who try to help me, to the extent that really I don't really use anyone, and I do it all in house. And so I now employ people. So I've got 4/5 people that I employ, and we work together to build the practice, and we do all the work ourselves, because I don't really employ any sort of marketing people or anything like that, because I haven't found it to be very fruitful when I've tried to do that. Because one of the big things is that what you want to do is you want to get a return on your investment. And so when I now run courses and I take on, say, clients sounds wrong, doctors, consultants, to help them to grow their practice, I'm very keen to show that they're going to get a return on their investment, because at the end of the day, you're not really doing it for fun. In the NHS, it's a job and it's salary, and you've got to do a good job, and it's, but in the private practice, you're not doing it for fun. You're doing it to make a business. It's a business, and you may actually be doing the surgery for fun, to be honest with you. You may say, actually, I am doing it for fun because I enjoy operating and I enjoy my job, which is absolutely fine. But when you come and see me, and if you want to talk to me about growing your practice, you're not doing that for fun. You're not talking to me for fun because you enjoy it. It is fun, and I have been on many masterminds groups and conferences, and I really enjoy it, and it is enjoyable. But at the end of the day, you're doing it to grow your practice. You're doing it to get a better practice and to get more, either more work in your practice or work more efficiently, so you have more time at home, more time with your family, a better quality of life, less traveling around for whatever reason, but you're doing it to get something out of it. And if you're going to get something out of it, you've got to measure the effects of what you're doing. And one of the things I'm very keen to do when I give people talks and I talk about I talk to people one-on-one on mentoring and have meetings, is to make sure that people are getting a return on their investment. And the only way you can make sure you're getting a return on your investment is by knowing your numbers. So you have to know your numbers. And most of us don't know our numbers, to be quite brutal and to be quite frank. And you can liken it to someone, if you look at sports, if you look at someone who enjoys running, for instance, if you enjoy running and you go out every day and you just try and run a bit faster, you don't really know how far you're going, you don't know how long it's taking you, that's going to sort of dwindle a bit in time. The only way, if you're going to really take it seriously and really try and improve on yourself, is if you measure how long it takes you to run a certain distance and then try and run it faster. Either do longer distance in the same time or do the same distance in a faster time, and you measure your time one day. You do things to try and make your time better. You go and work in the gym, you make your diet right, and you try and improve on your time, and then you can compare it to other people and what a good time is. But if you don't do that, if you're just running and hoping for the best and thinking I enjoy running, you're going to lose interest in that quite quickly. Whereas if you have goals and you know what's going on, you know what's happening, then you know whether you're getting better and whether it's worthwhile. The Warren Buffett said you've got to be able to read the scoreboard. If you can't read the scoreboard, you don't know the score. If you don't know the score, you don't know the winners from the losers. And it's a bit like watching a game of football. If you're just watching them kick the football around and try and get the goal in the net, it's no good unless someone's keeping score and you know what the score is. So you've got to know what the outcome measure is. So in that case, goals, and you've got to know how many goals each person's getting. And then all of a sudden it becomes a bit more exciting and you want to watch and you want to see how well they get on. So knowing your numbers and having some way of quantifying how well you're doing is absolutely essential to know whether the things you're doing is making a difference. So it's one of those things, one of the many things that I talk about, to be honest with you, that is not urgent but important. You know, the grid with the urgent and important. So it's not urgent, so you don't have to do it. If you don't do it, it doesn't matter. And you'll say, I'll do that next week, do that next month, do that next year. Fine. No one's going to tell you off. You know, I'm going to check my emails now and I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Do the other thing that you perceive to be urgent, but really is not important. But it's one of those things that's really, really important, but it's not urgent, so people don't do it. And that's one of the things that I talk about you can go to my website where I've got a blog and I run meetings and talk about all this important but not urgent stuff. So the things that you need to know about when you need numbers. So what sort of numbers? You need to put some metrics together and you need to put some numbers down. So one of the big things that I talk about is version 1 is better than version none. So basically do something, because basically, let's face it, you're probably not doing anything, are you? You're probably doing a tax return at the end of the year and you're hoping that you've made more money than last year, but you don't really know on a daily basis or a weekly or monthly basis whether you have. So you're probably doing nothing at the moment. So if you want to know what to do, basically step 1, do something. Step 1. If you want a bit more specific than that, then one of the things that we look at in the meetings, and one of the things that I talk about, and one of the things we talked about a lot when I was in a mastermind group, and we spoke about this a lot. The C, the 5. They used to talk about the 5 C's, but maybe 6 C's. But anyway, the C's. And these are things that you measure. We measure them in our practice every month. And crowd, capture, consult or consultation, convert, continuity, and cash value. So these are the things that we measure personally every month, and these are the things that I would recommend you measure. You can measure other things as well. The crowd is the amount of people who are looking at you and your profile, whether it be on the Spire website. It might be hard to get that, or the BMI website might be hard to get that data. Maybe your Facebook page, maybe it's your Facebook fans. Maybe it's your Twitter followers, your Instagram followers, or perhaps probably the best is actually the unique visitors to your website. And that's something you can get from Google Analytics. If you want to know about Google Analytics and getting that on your website, head over to my website, which is, oh, there it is, staianoconsulting.com, because I've got an online course about how to build a website and how to install analytics and etc. onto it. So it's all freely available, Google Analytics. You can see how many website visitors you've got every day, hour, month, year. As I say, we do it monthly. So that's your top figure, your crowd. Then you want to look at capture. Capture is the amount of people who have whose details you have got. So they've inquired to you somehow. So they have phoned you, or they have written to you. There's a referral letter from maybe from a GP or another doctor. They have been sent an email inquiry in, or somehow they have inquired. So they are what we call a prospect. So they are a patient who has or a person who has inquired. So that's your capture. Then you've got your consult. So that's consultations. So again, we do this every month. We look at how many consultations you've had a month. Should be pretty easy to get that information. Conversions. So that is how many people have a procedure. Now, remember when I years ago I used to work for one of the cosmetic companies, and they used to talk about conversion rates, and this guy's got a really good conversion rate, and I hated that. I hated that talk about conversion rate. I thought conversion rate doesn't sit with me. It's not right. I don't care about my conversion rate. I don't care if people who I see in the clinic have surgery or not. You know, oh, this guy's got a 90% conversion rate. Isn't he good? I'm like, well, no, he may not be good. He may be coercing people to have surgery. That's not good. My outcome measure is not whether someone goes on to have surgery. I don't, if they don't have surgery, that's fine. I tell them whether they, what's available with surgery, but I don't coerce them. And I still feel that way. But now that I'm running a business, I realize actually it is a good number to measure, because it is a number and it is a thing. And if your conversion rate's really low or really high, or going up or going down, you've got to think, why is it going up or going down? What's happening? And I think it is something to measure. I'm not saying you should have it really high, but I think you should look at it, and if it's going up or going down, you need to look at maybe those reasons behind that. Then what's next? Continuity. Continuity is something that personally I don't really have, but if you're doing a lot of Botox, non-surgical treatments, definitely there'll be continuity there. Continuity means having another procedure. More than continuity is referring another patient. So that's how you do maybe get what's called continuity revenue from one patient. And that is a big part of my practice. So maybe referring another patient, you could into continuity. So for each patient, if they refer another patient, then you have a sort of continuity of two there. My continuity is pretty much one at the moment, certainly for the surgery. But again, Botox and what have you, you may be getting multiple visits for that patient. And then lastly is the cash value. The cash value is the average cash value for each transaction. It's really useful to know the average cash value of a patient, and that can help you to know if you are particularly going to spend some money on marketing or anything like that. You need to know what the value is of the patient. And if you we do all those figures as a percentage, and if you multiply them all together, so if you have a crowd of however many thousand, and then you know what percentage of those you got the details from, and you know what percentage of those that come to a consultation, and what percentage of those have a procedure, and how many of those have multiple procedures, then you can work out what your overall revenue is, and you can keep an eye on those things. And you need to look at those things to see, I would say every month, to see whether they're going up and down. And the really important thing is once you've done it once, then it's quite easy to do again. It's a real pain. You think, oh God, I can't do this. But once you've done it once, then you can do it again. And then once you've done it, you've got a way of measuring those things. And again, it goes into my Pecan system. The A of my Pecan system is the automation. You need to automate as much as possible to get these figures automatically. You don't really want to be having much hassle to go and get them. So once you can automate as much as possible, then you can have a system where you can have a look at your numbers, have a look at your percentages, see what's happening, see if they're going up and going down. So see the things that you're doing are making an effect. And what you really need is you need to think about whether you want your practice to be better and whether you want to have tangible improvements in it. Because if you don't measure your numbers and you don't look at your numbers, you're going to lose interest pretty quickly, to be honest with you. And I'm going to say to you, is this working? Is that working? You think, I don't know. I think I saw more patients last week. So I think, yeah, we saw a couple of patients, got a couple of inquiries. So I think that is working, that whatever, those tweets that I'm putting out, or that email that I sent out to all those people, yeah, I think they are actually. Anecdotal evidence, that is known as in the scientific community. You need to be a bit more scientific about it, and you really need to get some numbers and some figures on it. Say, yes, look at that. That's gone from 2% to 5%. That's gone from 50% to 70%, or that's gone to from 60 to 30. What's going on? You need to be scientific about it, and that's why we hold meetings. We hold meetings at the at my clinic, where we talk about all this sort of thing. We talk about the Pekin approach, and it's really about you being held accountable to put these things in place so that you can build a practice that's more like a business, and it's more like a business that you know what's going on, you know what works, what doesn't work. And not only does that make your practice better, not only does that make it more efficient, but it makes it more attractive when you come into think later on when you come to sell. If you come in to sell your practice, then you've got a thing that you've actually a tangible asset that then can be used to then pass on to someone else. If you've got a structure in place of how you do it, of how you process your business, and how your numbers are affected by the things that you can do. You can say that this thing has affected my has improved or what have you, my numbers, and so forth. Therefore, I've learned what works and what doesn't work. So I'd encourage you to think about, first of all, just looking at your numbers in some way. Doesn't really matter how you look at your numbers, to be honest with you. Just start by looking at some numbers and looking at them regularly. If you want to look at the way that we look at them, as I say, we look at these things, the 6 C's. You don't have to use that system, but that's something to start off with, and do it regularly. Do it every month. And do it, and looking for trends. Don't worry too much about the absolute figures to start off with. You're looking for trends, and then you need to start doing stuff to improve your numbers. So, for instance, your capture rate, you need to start putting more information in your website. If you put more information on your website, then you can give more information to patients. You can get more people giving you their details, inquiring about these things, and so then you're looking to see if your capture rate will go up. I think, okay, my capture rate's going up. And then as you can incrementally increase each of those C's, then that increases your bottom line. So each of the C's that you need to look at, that you try and increase them incrementally, and you have a dramatic effect on your practice. So I hope that's been helpful. If you want to know more, you can go to my website, dianaconsulting.com. We hold meetings we've got the next meeting is in August, I think 11th of August. I should have that on my thing, shouldn't I? Saturday, I think 11th of August. And but if you want more details, there's more details on my blog. And so Facebook Live at 8:05. I like the ring to it. Whether it is going to be a sustainable thing, I do not know. But we'll give it a go. Facebook Live at 8:05. And it's going to be a Thursday. I reckon Thursday is pretty good. So I will think of something to talk about next week, and I will check myself out. Bye.